What's going on, champions? For our full body strength workout today, we're going to be focusing on some upper body muscle building pieces like dip holds, bridge presses, Z presses, and floor presses, getting in some direct arm work with bicep curls and skull crushers, and then continuing to work on kettlebell swings and overhead deadlifts. Keep fit and have fun. This workout starts off with some hammer curls to the song Suga Suga. The way it works, you're going to be holding in the bottom position, and every time you hear the word sugar, you're going to do 1 rep. Now, if you use a dumbbell or a kettlebell or any other weight, the core concept remains the same. You want to give it a little bit of a squeeze in that bottom position so you get that chest and inside of the biceps active, and then try to maintain that squeeze for every rep and as you maintain the hold. From there, first combo is going to be for some L-sit holds. Now, these can be in the top position, in which case you can use blocks or some books to push the floor away and pull the butt back a little bit so you can get that core active as well. Try to stay active through the shoulders and the chest and upper back while doing that. If you want more of a challenge, you can go for the bottom position. So start at the top and lower yourself as low as you can go, but don't lose the chest as you hold. That's going to transition right into a set of bridge presses. So for these, same position you would go for a floor press, but you bring the butt up, trying to use the inside of the legs and the butt to hold yourself in that top position. From there, I like to bring my weight down towards my belly button on the way down, and then try to push up and line up with my collarbone on the way up. Now, the big key though is you want to stay in the range where you can keep the muscles feeling it. So if you need to stop just short of lockout at the top or just short of that bottom position to keep that pump going, go right for it. You can do this with a variety of objects, but try to focus more on building that pump and maintaining the tension through the inside of the legs as you go for the reps more than anything else. Next combo is going to be some Z presses. It's going to be starting with some Z presses. So for these, you're looking for a similar idea in which you're maintaining tension throughout the movement. I like to squeeze my legs together for this as well, so I keep the midsection active too. You are looking ideally to go overhead with this, but you want to stay in the range where you can maintain tension. So if that means you got to go a little more forward than up, that's all good, so long as you maintain that tension. If the squeeze position doesn't really work for you, you can also try it with a single dumbbell or a single weight. If I go for that, I like to use my free hand to maintain tension on my chest or to check if I'm maintaining tension on my chest. That's a good way to keep yourself honest, but maintaining tension through the legs is also a massive key here too. So you keep the midsection involved and don't lean back and force the lower back to work too much. This is going to go right into a set of floor presses. So we're supersetting these together as well. I like to go with the same angle here, so down towards the belly button on the way down, up towards the collarbone on the way up. But again, bigger focus is on finding and maintaining a pump through the chest here. So feel free to stop short of lockout or short of the bottom position if need be. Play with those angles. Find the positions that let you really get a good pump going through the chest. The rep range is just a guideline here, so use that as a rough guesstimate of where you should be at. But the pump is the big thing you want to focus on. Play around with different objects if you have them available. Depending on what you have, you might find some work better than others for the floor press. See what lets you build that pump the best and what's the easiest on those wrists and hands so you can focus on the set at hand. Moving on to some direct arm work, starting off with some bicep curls. So for these, with whatever weight you have, you want to try to get the weight set up on top of your hands. Try to feel a nice big stretch as you let the arms down and straighten out. And then try to really squeeze the biceps on the way up. Avoid letting the shoulders do too much work here. You can use a little bit of momentum, but less is more with this. Momentum-wise, I like to lean a little bit forward as I go down. That way I get a nice stretch at the bottom, and then lean just slightly back on the way up so I can get a good squeeze at the top. But make sure the biceps do the work here and not the shoulders. Once that's done and dusted, moving on to some skull crushers. So for these, maintain a nice squeeze on your chosen object. I find that really helps me avoid letting the elbows or shoulders do too much work. And then play around with where you bring your weight in relation to your forehead or your head. So some might find that bringing it lower on the face is better for their elbows and make them feel it more in their triceps. Some might find going higher on the head works better. I don't know. You will play around and see what works for you. The key is to get those triceps pumped up. If you maintain a good chest squeeze, you might not feel them immediately, but you should feel them fire up pretty quickly after a set or two. Depending on what you have available, we're going to be finishing off either with some kettlebell swings. Going to be going for 10 sets of 5 reps. Big keys to remember is to be explosive and powerful with every rep. Start off in that hike position, big powerful pull, and then think of really squeezing the legs on the way up. Feel that nice hammy stretch as you come down and rebound the weight, and then really squeeze the butt on the way up. Think about a standing plank position in that top position. If you don't have a kettlebell or the weight you have doesn't work for this, you can go with an overhead deadlift instead. These are pretty much the opposite of a kettlebell swing in the sense that what you're doing is going for 5 sets of 3 to 5 slow, controlled reps with lots of tension. Look to move slowly on the way down. Feel that big stretch through the hammies as you go down. And just when you're about to lose it, you want to move equally slow and controlled on the way up. Avoid letting yourself use momentum here. These reps are sped up so you guys can see more, but you can imagine they're going to be a lot slower when you're doing them in real time. This is a lot more difficult than it looks. A big key with whatever you use as your stick or dowel, you can use a broomstick as well, is to think about trying to bend it into a rainbow shape as you hold it overhead. So you get the pecs and the lats involved and keep that upper body active and let the lower body work on that deadlift motion.